Today I could talk about, I think there's a lot of times that on the spiritual journey, people get very caught up in the practices of spirituality. That, like, when we're meditating, maybe even it's a mantra practice, that people tend to attribute the practice to, this is going to make me enlightened. That if I meditate long enough, that if I sit a long enough time staring at a wall, or if I say a mantra over and over again, thousands of times every day, then I'll become enlightened, and then I'll be able to enjoy and celebrate my life in a way that I can't in this moment. And I'd say that belief isn't true, that the life you are living can always be enjoyed and celebrated, and it's your choice. It's your choice how much you wish to appreciate, celebrate, enjoy the life you're living. And that enlightenment is just going to be, you are going to be more aware, more conscious. You're going to feel like you're pulled by desires a lot less, and you'll have a deeper relationship with your emotions, and you'll want to serve the greatest healing, you want to serve those around you, and you want to serve what will bring the greatest community and togetherness and oneness in every moment. But it really won't change your ability to enjoy or celebrate your life. And it's why we go through a journey of feeling less than enlightened, because the universe is trying to show you that no matter what level of consciousness you're at, your life can be celebrated, your life can be enjoyed, and you don't have to be flawless or perfect in order to do that. And whether you're flawless or perfect, or feel like a completely flawed person that always gets things wrong, that always fucks things up, it's okay. It's not a big deal. And in truth, if you just took more time to appreciate yourself as you are, to enjoy yourself and to celebrate who you are, you would naturally become more enlightened, because enlightenment is an energy of celebration, enjoyment, and appreciation. And oftentimes our negative patterns live within us for how little we appreciate them, how little we enjoy them, how little we celebrate them. And if we just took ourselves to cheer ourselves on, say, honey, you only forgot your wallet and your keys at home today, but you remembered your phone, and I know the rest of the day you're going to do awesome. You would start to feel better about even when you'd make fuck-ups, because instead of reprimanding yourself or being hard on yourself, you just took it as a deeper reason to encourage yourself. And the real reason why negative patterns or bad habits or addictions live within us is because we're unwilling to give ourselves positive encouragement, love, and appreciation as we go through those patterns. And those patterns are fed off of negativity and toxicity. And the moment we go, whatever negative experience I feel, I'm going to take it as a reason to cheer myself on, to encourage myself, and find deeper ways to appreciate and enjoy and love myself as I am, is the moment those patterns start to be healed out of us over time. Because when we start to cultivate the opposite of negativity, which would be like love, positivity, appreciation, it's clearing, it naturally brings that pain that we're acting from to the surface, to be faced and felt, to make more room of what we're cultivating by what we choose and what we focus on. And so if you want to change a behavior, it isn't about being hard on yourself, it isn't about reprimanding yourself, but taking every moment as, honey, I love you, you're doing great, I know you'll do it better even next time. And every time you fuck up, it's just a reason for me to love you a little deeper. If you said that to yourself, you'd feel rather good, no matter what you were choosing. And it is the softness and gentleness of how we speak to ourselves, how we encourage ourselves, that actually is what creates peace within ourselves, no matter what choices you make. And our choices to some degree do matter, but also how we respond. Often the most important thing is just how we respond to our choices. And if we want to start making different choices in our life, How are we responding? And if we respond differently, we'll naturally start to see those choices shift. And really what enlightenment is being rather loving and gentle and kind with yourself. It isn't obsessing or fixating over a spiritual practice. And if you wonder why the world is such a mess right now, why there's wars going on, why people in power can be rather lost in control patterns and abusive and say awful things about minority groups. Oftentimes, I would say one of the biggest reasons why the world isn't functioning quite how it could be is because all the people who've either people have forgotten that they could be loving, kind, compassionate, and they only forgot that they could be loving, kind, and compassionate based on the pain and trauma they endured growing up, and that became more familiar than love and compassion, and so they relate to others from what was familiar to them. And so that's one reason. that's all the people that take advantage of others, that hurt others. They're just relating to people what was most familiar to them growing up. And some people will be really hurt deeply and still find it as a reason to love deeper. And that's probably someone who's just lived a couple more lifetimes than someone who is hurt deeply and gets so lost in that pain that they find it more acceptable to hurt others than to face their own pain. And then that's one side of it, and on the other side of it, there's the light workers, the healers, the people that work with consciousness and try and be as loving, kind, and empathic in every moment. But oftentimes, those light workers get so caught up in meditating, in mantras, in clearing, that they forget that what would lead to the greatest level of enlightenment is how they are showing up to those around them. And meditating and mantras and clearing energy is beautiful as long as it's not the majority of your day or the majority of your life. And sure, some days maybe you want to try meditating all day or try doing a longer spiritual practice. That's okay, but it shouldn't be your whole life. Because people out there need help. People that are around us everyone around us is on a healing journey. Everyone is hurting. And if the light workers are just focused on clearing all their limiting beliefs, meditating long periods of time, mantras, and aren't actually taking those practices out into the world is going to remain how it's been. The world is going to stay rather fixed in self-absorption, and even the practice of meditation, if it's hyper-focused, the practice of clearing energy, the practice of trying to manifest, if it's hyper-focused without then taking whatever you cultivated within yourselves out into your life, is a subtle form of self-absorption. And enlightenment is selflessness and unity and love for all, and it's serving the whole. And so we're not going to find enlightenment by sitting in a cave and meditating all day. If you wanted to do that for 2 weeks, great, but then it's how do you take what you just found in yourself? How do you take the deeper peace and connection with yourself that you just cultivated by being still for a little bit, and how do you bring it to those around you, and how do you start to help and serve others? Because the ascended masters that lived on this planet, that rose above ever having to take a physical incarnation again, were the beings that mastered being selfless, loving, and compassionate to all those around them, and left a huge legacy of love on the planet that they ascended from, where they impacted thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of hearts on their planet by what they were able to contribute to the whole. And sure, praying by yourself or meditating, it will spread a little peace to maybe the hearts that are closely knit to you, but the greatest way to impact those around you in physical form is to have interactions with them, and is to share your presence and is to be open and curious and interested and present with them like no one ever else has been up until that moment. And that's how we're really going to change people and help people remember the love and light that they've forgotten, or the divinity or wholeness that was just waiting to be seen within them. Because it isn't about one person finding deep peace within them, or becoming enlightened and staying away in a cave and just cultivating that enlightenment, as it's so much as that person going out into the world and sharing and touching as many people as they can with the love and light they embody. And the greatest activations, the greatest energetic upgrades you're going to go through in your life are going to happen from the experiences you're given in your life and how you handle them, rather than sitting and staring at a wall for days on end. And this is coming from someone who's meditated for incredibly long periods of time, who sat in prayer for days and days and days on ends. And what I realized from going through that is it didn't actually matter. It didn't actually make that big of a difference in who I was. And what I found is, as I've come out of that and lived life, that living life has created so much more empowerment, has changed me into a far greater version of myself than I ever found while I was meditating. And really what meditation is it's a practice of, okay, so if you're meditating, there's like two main forms of meditation. There's eyes open and eyes closed. And eyes closed will help your body be relaxed whenever else your eyes are closed. So if you're meditating with your eyes closed, your body will naturally be more relaxed when you're sleeping. And so if you have a hard time sleeping or falling asleep, then eyes closed meditation is the way to go. Eyes open is when your body will look at, okay, they're meditating with their eyes are open. When else are their eyes open? And so if you want to be more relaxed during your day, then meditate with your eyes open. But really all meditation is a practice of two things. It's a practice of, one, lengthening your attention span, because oftentimes, especially with our modern technology, people have rather short attention spans. So sitting and staring at a wall for 10 minutes, it could be really hard for some people. And so learning to lengthen your attention span by sitting and breathing, and especially if we find ourselves or we think of ourselves as maybe a little bit more of an impulsive person, meditating with our eyes open is a great practice. And even if you wanted to lengthen it for a while, you could try meditating for, like, start with 5, then 10, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and 20-30 minutes, like once or twice a day, is a great practice. And it really doesn't need to go any further than that. But if you wanted to take it further, you could try for an hour or 2 hours. But eventually, when you get comfortable at that, it's time to move on from that practice. Because if you're comfortable at sitting an hour and 2 hours, or 2 hours staring at a wall, then your attention span has been lengthened, and you're not going to get that much. You might get a little bit out of that practice going forward, but it won't be the same gains as you started with. And really, meditation is a practice of, 1, lengthening your attention span, and 2, learning how to sit with discomfort. And we take all the impulses, all the desires, all the cravings that we know wouldn't be good for us to act on, while we feel during meditation like, I should get up and look at my phone. I got to do this during my day. I need to go do that. And we learn to sit with it, just as a practice of sitting with desires, impulses, and cravings. And then we take that skill and we apply it to our life. And all the times we think we should, like anytime we compulsively want to act on something just to feed a desire without it serving the well-being of ourselves or well-being of others, whether that's taking taking drugs or substances, whether that's connecting to people just for sex, without ever really thinking about the long-term implications of you being that physically close with someone. Because anytime you're having sex with someone, you're becoming more like them. And so if you think about it, Is this someone I want to be more like? Is their patterns, is how they move through the world something I would like to be more close to in my life? And would I like some of that energy in me? And if the answer is no, maybe that's a desire to sit with rather than act on. And one of the reasons why there's so little community on this planet is because everyone's trying to have sex with each other without genuinely getting to know each other or connect with each other. Or a lot of people, maybe not everyone connects that way, but a fair amount of people rush into relationships of the first person they're attracted to or the first person that's kind to them without really thinking, is this someone I really want to genuinely get to know? And so just to bring it back to desires, is meditation is a practice of sitting with our impulses, sitting with our desires, and becoming aware of what's a craving, what's a desire, and what are the things that are going to serve my greatest well-being and the well-being of others. And acting from a place of, I serve the greatest well-being to the best of my ability in every moment. And I act less and less on cravings and desires that I know aren't going to serve me. And so once we get good at that, there becomes less of a reason to meditate. And my personal practice, how I connect to the divine or spirituality, is I really love working with frequency. And I'm someone that channels a frequency, a healing angelic frequency, just by speaking with my words and setting my intention before I make one of these videos. But there's many other people that do this. And so when I connect, when I'm wanting to develop a deeper relationship with spirit or feel more of the divinity or holiness or heavenly frequencies that we all are, our enlightenment isn't something that's outside of us. It is the energy of our spirit, but we are on a journey of attuning our bodies more and more to the energy of our spirit, because our spirit, based on how harmed our body was, can get pushed to kind of the background. How much abuse and trauma we went through growing up makes our body harmonize more with abuse and trauma than it does heavenly frequencies. And that's one of the reasons. And anyone who's like acting on bad habits or thinking they're doing everything wrong often are just acting from how they were taught to act by how they were treated growing up. And so as we connect, and so connecting with angelic frequencies, connecting with the divine, is a big practice in my life of helping me feel more of the enlightenment that I'm not trying to achieve, that I'm not trying to strive for, but that I naturally am, and attuning my body more and more to that, not doing long periods during the day so much as just regularly connecting to it once or twice. And I really like angel visualizations is a great way to do it. There's a person named Diana Cooper. She's on YouTube. She does guided visualizations working with different frequencies. Or Tim Wilde is another great one. And it's Tim with like W, the wild part is WHILD. Or listening to other people that channel, like Matt Kahn, Alunya, Noel, are all people that work with frequency. And just by listening to them teach or listening to them talk about a specific subject that's aligned in truth or aligned with or talking about enlightenment or angelic frequencies, is attuning you more and more to the frequencies that they're teaching about, because they're bringing it through their body as they teach, which is something I do as well. But the working with frequencies, and there's many ways to do this. Like for me, I also will say I like mantras, and I'll say a mantra while I ride the train. But what I found, I guess we're just to round it out, what I found in my life is that it's more about taking time to connect to divinity and then bringing that out into my life, rather than my life becoming a spiritual practice. And that the more we can bring our spiritual practices into our life and still be productive and still be efficient and still get things done, is the more we are going to find that the divinity is willing to give us greater roles to serve others on this planet, activate more of our gifts. Because if we're only using spirituality as a way of connecting with ourselves but avoiding the rest of our life. It's a subtle form of self-absorption, of being so absorbed in ourselves that we forget that there's a world out there that needs our help. And the moment we go, whatever spiritual practice I have, it's just going to be a practice of connecting with divinity, so then I can bring more of that divinity out into the world. The more and more inner power will start to feel, and the more and more we'll be given opportunities to help, to serve, to connect with others. Because divine wants like light workers or light warriors or people that are working with divinity. The ones who are going to be given the most power are the ones who are going to be the most selfless and compassionate to all, and you are not going to find that in a practice that's just focused on you. And it's more about, can I bring the practices of spirituality and integrate them into my life? So as I move forward, I'm a spiritual being, but I am fully connected, and I'm fully making as much of an impact in those around me as much as I'm making a bigger difference just to myself by how I take time to connect divinity when I'm alone. And so for me, that's working with frequencies, that's listening to other people that channel, that's you doing angel visualizations of connecting to higher angelic beings. And I do that regularly. I do that like most days or just about every day, but it's not all of me. It's just a part of me. And then the other parts of me like are human and go out and live my life. And that's really what we're gonna find is gonna lead us to a path of enlightenment far quicker, is applying whatever we know spiritually and embodying it and then applying it to our life, rather than using spirituality as a way to avoid our life. And even if we're doing mantras, can we do it on our way to an activity? Like for me, I always pray when I'm walking or riding the train as I go about my day. So I'm not doing mantras to avoid my day. I'm doing like a mantra of like Om Namah Shivaya, or like highest divinity, please heal the hearts of all, or highest divinity, please rejuvenate and revitalize the bodies of all and fill all with the greatest health and well-being. Highest divinity, please awaken greater power, love, and compassion and harmony within all beings, or whatever mantra we want to chant as we walk. But can we do it as we go through our day? So that way we're still being productive, we're still getting things done, and we're still sharing our light with the world, because the world needs our help. And the moment more light workers step up and start to serve those around them and the world greater is the moment this world's going to find more and more peace. So thank you for listening, and I hope that helps.